Are these the frames that you've been looking for in Star Wars Jedi Survivor? Or are they somewhere in a galaxy far, far away? No one will ever know. But there is a patch for Star Wars Jedi Survivor on the PC. Thank Christ for that. Because this game launched in a horrid state, an unacceptable state, honestly, for them to ship a game out like that, especially when they have turned it around and seemingly fixed a lot of the issues really, really quickly, which means either someone made a big mistake when they sent it out, which still very unacceptable for a huge AAA publisher / developer like Respawn and Electronic Arts, or they just put no effort into it whatsoever and they pushed it out the door anyway, and then they were like, holy shit, people are really mad about this. We've got to do something like ASAP Rocky. So they have definitely patched the game, and they have not patched ray tracing performance yet. They are saying that that'll come in a separate patches, I guess, at a later date. No timeline on that whatsoever. But for non-ray tracing performance, they have improved the performance significantly. My 4090 now is regularly up anywhere from 70 to 99% utilization, which is still not perfect. It should really be up. It should be GPU bound most of the time, unless I'm CPU limited because of my 9900K, which could be an issue even at 4K. But the issues we were seeing previously in this game were not because of my CPU particularly. Yes, I could have gotten more frames with a better CPU, but it was still being limited because of Unreal Engine 4. And it seems like they have done a lot of work and optimization in the back end to maybe scale it a little bit better across the different CPU threads in the likes that we really haven't seen on many Unreal Engine games, especially not ones as graphically intensive as Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which now is running a hell of a lot better. Previously, I was getting anywhere from 40 to 50 FPS for most of the time. Now I'm pretty much regularly over 60 frames per second, sometimes even getting into the 70s, and it just makes for a much better overall experience. The animations and everything are silky smooth, and it's just a better game to play. The animations of fighting with the lightsaber and everything just feel better, feel more responsive, look smoother, crisper, better animations. Just everything about the game is better when this game, and most games, honestly, let's say that, are running at 60 frames per second or higher. So just a much better experience overall. Now, that does not mean that they have fixed everything, and there are some areas of the game which are still not fixed at all. I'll touch on that in just a minute. But the frame time hitches and stuff like that from traversal stutters are still here, but not as bad. Again, that is something that they seem to have fixed quite a bit here, or at least shifted into some areas where it makes them much less noticeable, usually when you're climbing or walking into a brand new area or loading in or out of a cutscene or during a cutscene. During these moments, I don't really have a massive problem, and I'm not going to take them to the cleaners over a couple of hitches and stutters during cutscenes. Those things are not big deals to me. But there are still some hitches and stutters when you're actually playing the game, but much better, much improved, and I would say at this point the game is extremely playable with the optimizations that they have implemented up until this point in time, as long as you're okay playing without ray tracing. I'm still not using FSR or anything here because it's a bad implementation, and it continues to be a bad implementation, sadly, in Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Unless they add in DLSS at a later date, which is doing a better job, I don't think I'll be using any upscaling technology for this game, but thankfully with the latest patch, it runs very, very well on my hardware, even at 4K and epic settings, without using the ray tracing, and I think the game looks great. I think if I was getting full 99% usage all of the time, I feel like the visuals of the game do, justify the performance. There's a lot of environmental detail here, and the game overall looks great. In my personal opinion, you may disagree. I think it looks very good. And a lot of people are saying that the performance issues in this game do get better as you play later on in different parts of the game, and it's only limited to just Coruscant in the beginning of the game. But that is the first impression of the game, and you are going to spend a good chunk of time here starting at the game, and that's honestly the Steam refund period. And, that's the part where they needed the most optimization, and it seems like they have done that here. But it does seem like there are some areas where they still need to work on it, and I'm not played through the entire game. I've only played through the first hour or so at the most. So this is really just based on that slice of gameplay, but even after this patch, there was a portion where I could see where the frame rate just crashed completely. I can tell the exact moment right there with the frame times where the frames just completely crashed when I jumped onto the ship. It's sort of like at the end of the tutorial area of Coruscant, and then climbing onto the ship and then descending down into it for the upcoming cutscene. I saw my frames dip down even into the 40s and hover around in the mid-50s, while the GPU utilization was considerably lower, and it continued on for several minutes like that until I got into the completely next gameplay area of the game. And it's still, the GPU usage still dropped from there, but the big takeaway is that they have improved this a lot. Now, moving forward, I want to see every Unreal Engine game achieve at least this level of optimization. Now, how this game pushed out on day one with the way that it was, I have no idea, because I would say that now the performance is at least on par with that of Star Wars Fallen Order. Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order are now at least on par in terms of their Unreal Engine optimization. The fact that they're still using the same engine and, a lot of the same assets, as this is still available for previous gen as well as current gen consoles, because, they pretty much just picked up where they left off. This is a direct sequel to the last game. It's not a next generational leap in terms of technology from Fallen Order for Jedi Survivor here, because they were already they developed that in the PS4, and they developed this as well to be able to run on, a few different generations of hardware. So it didn't make that massive technological leap in graphics, at least for me, but it still looks pretty good. But that's all I've got for you guys here on this patch for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I really have to stop and think every time I say the name of these games. I'm going to be completely honest with you folks, but if you have EA Play Pro and you want to give this a try, I would say it's definitely worth downloading now and installing, as they have seemingly made this game into a very playable state, in my opinion. So if you enjoy Star Wars and you enjoyed the previous game, I guess you could play it, as it's now on par with the optimization of the last title, which is not saying a hell of a lot, but it's still better. It's definitely playable. And I hope that this performance optimization does trickle down into the consoles as well, because I almost thought about buying this on the PS5, but that's even on the consoles that's having a lot of issues. It's like usually the PC's been getting the shaft a lot in the past couple of years, and especially so far here in 2023 with PC ports. But with this particular game, even the consoles are having frames down into the 40s in this early Coruscant area, and they don't even have the benefit of being able to toggle off ray tracing. They're stuck with ray tracing on the entire time, and if you choose the performance mode, which targets 60 FPS on the PS5, it more likely is going to run around 40 FPS, and it's running somewhere around 720 to 960p, which is pretty friggin' abysmal, honestly, that they are calling that a quote-unquote performance mode. They need to do a lot of work in terms of their prioritization, I think. They really need to learn what gamers are prioritizing and then adjust the game to that, and not their artistic vision of the console needs to have ray tracing, which it obviously does not. Allow people to play without ray tracing. I'm sure with these visuals, there's no reason that the PlayStation 5 cannot power this game at, high PC, medium high PC specs, maybe even epic on some settings, at somewhere between 1080 and 1440p and getting a locked 60 frames, and then they could use checkerboard rendering to upscale it to 4K. I have no doubt in my mind, without ray tracing, that the hardware in the PS5 and the Xbox Series X are capable of doing that with the visuals that I'm seeing in this game. So the fact that they have not done that with that hardware is inexcusable, because it's just pure stupidity and ignorance for the sake of I don't know what. Just make it better for gamers. That's what we want at the end of the day. Gamers want to have fun, and we don't want to have fun at the cost of ray tracing, making the game worse. Just take it out. If it doesn't work, get rid of it. Like, I understand you wanted it to work really bad, but guess what, bro? You fucking dropped the ball on that, okay? And that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time for another video. And let me know if you've been enjoying the patch and how it's worked out for you. Hopefully we get a ray tracing one soon. And also, I would love to see DLSS get put into this game. Someone's already modded in frame generation, so it could be modded in. But apparently the developers, their hands are tied behind their backs on that one. Probably because they took a whole bucket load of cash from AMD to not put any NVIDIA tech or Intel tech into the game. That's my theory. It's my tinfoil hat theory. Ancient aliens. It's aliens, man. I'm gonna go. I'll catch you next time. Peace. Aliens.